he made sure that all of the children went into sports. They all went to sports and learned, and they made it as a collective sport, so that they learned how to work with people. They learned that they're not by themselves, not just a single sport. You had a team. Team sport made you have to depend on somebody else. And he also made it clear that with his children, I'm going to be the coach. So you're going to always see a black figure guiding you. Because a lot of times when you grow up with this Canaanite coach, a European coach. So you end up listening to that European coach. And when the European coach has shouts down at you and start talking to you a certain way, you get used to them talking to you. And you say, well, that's okay. And some parents say, well, it's okay. The coach is just doing what his coach has to do. No, the coach is now putting something in the mind of the children and the parents that we can do this. And the parents sit on the sidelines and say, it's okay. The coach is just doing what he has to do or what she has to do. No. So we've got to take on the roles as parents to get involved in educating our children in all aspects. When they come home from school, we got to talk to them and say, well, okay, what did you do at school? All right. Okay, you did that. That's good. So let us look at it. What did you learn at school? I learned this about religion. Okay, what did they teach you? And we're going to now debunk this, because we understand that they're doctrinating our children with the mind of we want to still control you as we controlled your parents, as we control this. You get what I'm saying? So we now have to get into the mind of the children as well as the parents and start to guide them into this doctrine and try to show them, look, we're here as an example. We're here to make you see the way through. So sports is a major part of this. And we can use that as teamwork to when they go out there, they're going to work in an office, people around them. They're going to work on a building site, people around them. They're going to work in another job, people around. There's always going to be people around you. And if you haven't got like-minded people, you're going to fall to the wayside and start to believe in the narrative of everybody's equal and we can all be successful. And all I got to do is toe the line and I'll get there. And that's not true. But yet in somewhere like England, for instance, where we don't have the separation as much as you do in the US, right? People fall for it because it's like, oh, we're all going through it. And in fact, in England, most people don't even feel like they're under anything. They feel like I'm okay, I'm all right, I can do this. And I don't have to fight for anything because we're all living this life and they're being fair. Sometimes they don't even realize they're being oppressed. And that's a sad situation when you don't know that you're being oppressed. So now you've got to show them you are being oppressed and how you're being oppressed and how we're going to get out of this. And that the scripture does have guidance, because a lot of time, the minute you say religion to someone, they walk away. They don't want to know about religion. That's one thing now everybody don't hear about religion. Religion put us on this, but we don't know about religion. So you now have to explain to them, no, how religion came about, which religion we're talking about, how this benefits you, how it benefited them. And everything that we just heard a while ago, you've got to put that in play. So when we're talking about the youth, it's not just them we have to get to the parents as well. We must get to the parents, the uncles, the aunts. We got to take our time and go out there and talk to them. And if we sit down here and expect everybody to come to us, we're sad. We've got to go out there. We've got to go out there.
Okay, I love the fact that you said we got to go out there. So just remember, I am a lady and I am just asking questions.
May I also,
right? And yes.
When the question was asked, what can the Black church do? Not and not specifically the Holy Coptic Church. So a family must also be mindful of the goals of that particular church. Is that church there to make sure the Black people in that neighborhood remain oppressed and impoverished? So if that particular church is not teaching a doctrine of responsibility and a doctrine that the divinity is within, and this church is preaching that all we need to do is sit down and pray that the violence goes away. We need to sit down and pray that Johnny will go to school tomorrow, or sit down and pray for a miracle that a child is going to make a 180 without putting this child in the right conditions, then that church is just as at fault as the ones that are keeping us enslaved, because they are perpetuating that doctrine of enslavement and that doctrine of us looking for something else to come and save us, when we know that the helping hand we're looking for is at the end of our arm. So we have to do, when we say we're battling ignorance, we have to look and see what that church teaches, who the pastor is, who was that pastor's teacher, what doctrine he promotes, and is he really trying to help the community, or is he there to keep the community exactly where it is in that condition and keeping the people docile and submissive and not in a state of willing to do for themselves?
Okay. So once again, I'm gonna put my disclaimer out there when I say what I'm about to say. Okay, so here we go. The Nation of Islam had approximately 75 to 76 mosques and temples, and they had about 70 study groups at their peak. The UNA had 1,900 divisions, local chapters all over the world, Africa, Australia, America. Brothers, how do you address cowardice amongst your ranks when it comes to becoming a zealot for opening up branches and establishing this way of life and doctrine? How do you address cowardice amongst your ranks?
Okay, well, it's pretty easy. It's pretty easy to point out, because once we once we take our baptism, there's certain things that we're supposed to do. And if a person is not doing that, what is their reason for not doing that? And it's not that we have to address it. It's just that you will see it in the person, and the person not doing what is expected of them from our organization and from our rights. Right. So we know that all atoners, once we are baptized, we wear the nose ring in our right nostril and the ear jewel in our left ear, and we wear a beard. So if a brother is not following directions and falling in line, then, he's going to stick out. He's not going to look like the rest of us. So that's one identification. If a person does not come around, we have meetings. Brothers, we have private meetings. And we have some that don't follow directions well. What is your reason for not following directions? So it's not that we are going to have to identify the person. The person is going to show who they are and where they stand in the organization.
Okay.
Can I jump on this? Can I jump on this? Can I jump on this?
Yes. And with your answer, can you also add what is needed to grow branches to become
Right,
more like
because
the
part of what you said was, how do you address the cowardice, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's important, because a lot of the times the brothers, I'm talking about brothers now, right, don't even realize that that's what it is.
Mm.
They think that oh, I'm busy, I'm tired, because part of what we do is propagate, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we take the doctrine to the street, we propagate, we bring people to the church so they can experience what we're doing, and these sort of things that we do in order to make sure that we reach the people. On the radio, we talk this. We talk this with no fear, no apology, right? And a lot of times they're not even realizing I'm a coward. I'm frightened that somebody might come at me. I'm frightened that I don't know enough. And if I don't know enough, I might get embarrassed. And that's all part of growing. So how do we address it? How do we address it? We've always addressed it by teaching them, hey, putting strength in people to say, listen, if we don't do it, no one else is going to do it. And let them know we have to get out there. We sit down there and remind them of their obligations and the vow they took at their baptism, because they took a vow to say they're going to respect and hold up the mother, the church. We all took this vow. So we're supposed to go out there and learn this. And now that we're addressing it and saying, well, I'm speaking. I know there's brothers here right now listening. That really saying to them, damn, is Cohen calling us a coward? I'm not calling you a coward. You're looking at yourself now. I'm talking to all of you there, right? You're looking at yourself. Am I a coward? Well, you have to look at yourself now. Wonder, is that what's going on? Am I frightened to go out here? Because going out, this means by going out there and setting things up, I had to do this. I'm saying it because there was a time where I was in Brixton and I took myself and I said, I'm going to come over to East London and I'm going to open a place right here. And I had to go on the street, just a few of us, and start. And when we started again, we did that. The few of us started. And we had to go on the street and talk to people and bring people and get it going. People have to have this in them. And it's like, it has to be triggered through the doctrine, through our scripture, our religion, and showing them this is what we have to do and it won't work without them. And when they've seen, for instance, this is why when our Basesh is constantly talking and saying, listen, right, I might not be here for long doing this. They say, oh, Basesh is going to go away. Basesh might say he might die, he might get shot. No, Basesh is just letting you know that you have a role to play too. And this is why we're all learning. So to make this happen, we've got to take that time and learn what we need to learn from the classes that you've been given online. If you've missed them, go back to the archives, request them and learn them. People like, I'm looking at Dr. Tucker, great. I'm looking at my brother Owen, great. And Demarius, great. These people, and brother, I'm not saying anything about the sisters because we're talking about the brothers right now. All hail sisters too, right? Because they're doing well. No, truth is truth. So we're on the front line and we're the ones here that's saying we're going forward. And it shouldn't just be the same people all the time. So now with this happening, with what we're saying, we're not pulling no punches, brothers. Yeah. If you are behaving like a coward, we're going to look at you. And the sisters are looking at you now and going, are you a coward? I'm just saying, I'm going to leave it right there so that you can answer that. Only you as brothers can answer that.
Sister Shan, I'm going to throw the ball over there to you.
I love that. Yeah. I'm going to go a little bit to politics for a moment. Civic power. Back in the 60s, 50s, 60s in the United States and others, the church, the Black church, was a power and a force for getting out their voters to push for change. And then after that, it sort of fell off in the 60s, 70s, and it's practically non-existent today. What is our view as Atonis with regard to politics, our voting, and how we should vote as a collective?
Our principle and our mantra is well said well. And the last word is peace, politics. So we take the religion, we take the education, we take the law, we take the gender, we roll right the way through and we utilize and we say politics. Why is it important? Because you're living in a society where you have to have a say. So but if you're not groomed right, if you're not taught right, if you're not learned right, when you reach this stage of talking about politics, then you're going to be teaching it from the perspective of the enslaver, who's taught you to hate yourself, who's taught you to that the capitalistic system is the system, and the capitalistic system is about you getting all you need for yourself. So this is why it's important to go through the rail cell web, so that when we reach that political state, that you know why you're up there. And do we want people up there? Of course we do. But like I said, you're going to have to be taught about our doctrine, about our people, about our way of life, about the same thing that you were just talking about. The fact that the churches had such an effect and now they don't. So there was a concentrated effort of removing that influence of the churches on the people. We have to bring that back. And the only way we're going to bring that back is by helping the people, by doing charitable things. For instance, when we do the food drive, the Just Walk, the baby, the black baby, all these charitable things that we're doing is we're making a connection to the public to let them know we're here, and we're here to help you. When we're going like our brothers going to the schools and teaching them, we're saying we're here, we're helping you. So now we're grooming, educating, because a lot of people don't like that word grooming, but we're educating the children, so that when they grow up, they can take a seat. And don't believe that we don't need politicians, because we do. We just need politicians with the right mind, so that as we're in there, right, they can have an effect and help us to do in our fight for liberation, because that's what it is. We're going to fight every day of our life for liberation, right? So yeah, this is how we're looking at it, that we have to grow this again, and it's necessary. I don't know if you want to add to it, my brother.
Yes, and I think when dealing with politics, we want a person that identifies with culture. Because if this is a cultural person, then this person will act in the best interest of the people that actually gives them the office. So if you're cultural, you're going to be mindful of why you are in that position. You will be mindful of what your people need. You know, just like politics now, politicians now, they do what's beneficial for them. So we have to think along those lines and do the same thing and move in that way. What is best for us and our organization, and make those necessary changes and put those people in office, people that we can depend on, that's going to do things in our best interest.
Okay, so I'm going to show another video really quickly. And because I know we're coming short on time. And the reason I'm showing this video is because one of our BBs, you know, the BB Frances Cress Welsing, she talked about this. And so here we go with the video. Please take a look.
There's studies that compare testicle size of different civilizations and different cultures.
Yeah, so there's a lot of argument about this. And the problem is that the principle...
That it's racist.
It's racist, right? That's what underlies a lot of it, is that you end up with ethnic differences in testicle size, which we know exist. The ethnic differences in testicles, I believe, but I can't promise you that it's some different West African groups happen to have the largest testicle size on average. And so we have this idea of race as if it has genetic meaning, and it doesn't. But ethnicity does have genetic meaning, right? So an ethnic group evolved in a very certain spot to deal with very certain problems, and their body shape will vary. And you've got these West Africans who are really jacked with these big, a lot of quick jerk musculature. You don't see that over on East Africa very much.
Okay. So, in the Bible, it talks about be fruitful and multiply. Nowadays, children are having sex at younger ages, and even older men are getting more sexually transmitted diseases because of the flood of pornography. What type of programs are needed for both young men and older men to address the truth of that video? Because Francis Cress Wilson said they are jealous because of your reproductive abilities. What's needed?
Okay. First, the video itself. We don't do that.
Mm-hmm.
We don't sit around and talk about testicle size. So for two men to be making a video about how big or large someone else's testicles are, you are sick mentally first of all.
Okay.
It's real.
You know, and they know that, first of all, they spoke about it earlier, the fear of genetic annihilation.
Mm.
And if they know that they are, and they can't reproduce, they can't have children. And so they practice all type of debased things with men are gay and gay sex um and they promote it in our community. They promote it. And I mentioned it earlier with your first question, where they have outside organizations come into the school system to teach sex education.
Mm.
But they send out permission slips to parents. And most parents think that it's, you know, basic things about the reproductive system that's being taught to these kids. But they're actually being introduced to all types of things that exist in the gay community. You know, they let the kids know that, well, they tell the kids that it's okay if they have feelings for the same sex at a young age. But no, that's not okay. You should, and that's not something that you should tell a young child. And that's why when Kahun Muntu was speaking about the separation between young boys and young girls, and the need for them to be properly educated about what a young boy is and what a male is and how he is to become a man. And the same thing with the females. You have to be taught what your expectations are, what your culture requires of you. And that has nothing to do with you having feelings for another young boy, other than that young child being your brother and you working together and you uplifting each other when you're feeling down in a way that's positive and beneficial for your community, as opposed to how they try to introduce it to kind of prevent the Black population from having children because they can't have children. So it's a lot of ways that they're getting access to our children. A lot of times with the parents being unaware of what's actually being introduced to the kids. So that's why it's very important that we, as soon as possible, like yesterday, get our own schools, get our own neighborhoods, get our own Kinesas, so that we do not have to worry about this problem, because it's going to continue until we do what is necessary to properly educate our kids and properly take care of our communities, so that we can prevent the future generations from perpetuating this cycle that a lot of the families and communities refer to as curses. So it's going to continue until we do what's necessary to properly build and educate those that are coming.
Calhoun, do you have anything to add?
Well, yes, because as you were saying about the men talking about the size of our testicle, right?
Yeah.
And when
That's what she
Francis
said, and they doing
they have penis envy. This is why they're sitting there having this conversation, right? Because they've got this penis envy, and does it really matter? Yes, it does. I'm saying yes, it does because I know people are like, no, it does. It does. It matters to them. So if it matters to them, there's a reason why they're doing this, because they're trying to convince us that we are the same as them, and we're saying no. There's so many different parts on us, right? That alone is just part of it, right? So what we're saying here is this is not what we're supposed to be focusing on. So our children are knowing that, listen, yes, we're getting all forms of diseases. Yes, what's happening to us is because we're living in this promiscuous society where now, because it's been perpetuated that we have larger organs, the white girls are coming at us and we're thinking, oh, that's okay because I can get Becky now. I can get Mary now. I can get Karen now. Oh, I always dreamed about doing this. And now we're getting into that mixing and not realize that mixing is condemning our race. And this is what they're trying to get us to do.
Because that's scriptural.
Yes. And so when you go into Deuteronomy 7, it warns you about getting with them. Don't mix your seed. Don't take on their gods. And we start ending up eating their foods. We start ending up being like them. And next thing you know, you're worshiping everything that they're worshiping because you were led there by the wrong head. Putting it that way. Yes. It's important.
So we do need programs.
Yes, we do need programs. We got to have programs. We got to, because when we was in school, they said, oh, sexual program. And all they talked about was venereal diseases, right? And now venereal diseases is like, when I was in school, if you had syphilis, they said 2 years to cure it. Now they can cure syphilis in 2 weeks. So it's okay.
How do you know that? Okay, just fine. Okay.
So now that so with all this happening, it's encouraging people to be promiscuous. And with everybody saying, well, we're all equal, that means I can sleep with anybody. And now the race gets diluted and we start taking on their energies. We start taking on their gods. We start taking on their food. We start taking on their gods. I'm saying gods all the time because this is what happens. And before you realize it, you're now shouting out, God has saved me. Jesus saved me. This and that. And you're forgetting what we really are. And this is important. This bit is important because they're using every aspect to pull us off the path.
Okay, and so we have to follow the scriptures and we have to be scripturally based. Okay, Sister Shan, thank you so much, Calhoun.
Yes.
Can't hear you properly, sis.
Can you hear me, sir?
You can now.
Okay. Question. Dr. Neely Fuller said that a young man or a man, part of his identity or his qualities is that he's generous, he accumulates, trained to get things. He must be dependable, independent, but not necessarily dependent, analytical, and mastery should be a part of that.
What should be a part of it? I can't hear her properly. Can you, my brother?
I think somebody else's microphone is open.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, can you repeat that, please, sis?
Okay. I said that Baba Neely Fuller, sorry, not Baba Neely Fuller, Dr. Amos Wilson had said that a part of manhood and becoming a man, and one of the traits was generosity in terms of accumulating, training to get things. He must be trained not to be dependent, but to be independent. And his focus must be towards the community as a whole, analytical, and have self-mastery. How do we teach young men this, to be analytical, to have self-mastery, especially in the climate that they're in, where they go out that door, you do not know whether or not they may come back alive.
Okay. When we, in just looking at that alone, dealing with Amos Wilson, my brother Amos Wilson said, taking that from then, because he was giving the example of the things that we did in Africa in order to make that work for us. We've got to bring it to now. And to now, to make that work, we've got to teach our children about the road and what's expected on the road and what you're going to encounter on the road, right? Doesn't mean doesn't mean they have to go through it, but they've got to know and see it so they know how to avoid it. What am I saying? Because as a youth growing, if you've got the ability to do for self, you've got the ability to hustle some money, and by whether or not to just sell some crisp chips, sell some bits and pieces at school, right? You're selling, you're making a little change, right? And then someone comes to you and say, you can make more by selling this, right? And now I'm saying it from experience, because I've seen this happen, right? It's happened to my grandson, right? And you can make more by selling this. Now you move away from what was lawful to something that's unlawful because it makes you more money. This is what I was saying earlier. We have to show them the roads and what that is expected of them if they go down these roads. You see what I'm saying? So when you say what we have to do, we have to create the procedure of explaining to how to and walking them through. Listen, this is what we got to do. And just walk with them, walk with them to school for a few days. They're in the news. Walk with them. Don't let them feel like, oh, you're walking me, you're embarrassed. But I don't care. I don't care if I'm embarrassing you, right? I'm going to come with you for a while so that you get to know, and I'm going to point people out to you. That's this is that, that's that. Look at them, know them, so that you don't fall into the trap. We will have children, and our children, when they're growing, they go through this, and we've got to guide them, and we've got to find the best way we can. So the boy has to know that when he reaches a certain point, we're expecting you to stand on your own. That's right. Stand for yourself, but you're never really by yourself. We're always there, but we're expecting you to be independent, but like he said, to be able to give. So the ritual was that when I've made it, or I've made X amount of money, I can come and sit with you, mom. I can sit with you, dad, and say, here you go. I can look after you. I can help out now. But it comes a point where we've got to sit back and say, go. Just like when the child was growing, you were holding them to walk, and then you had to let them go. And you knew they were going to fall. You knew they might hurt themselves, but you know they're not going to die. So we got to do that same governing as we're taking it to that next level of guiding our children and just being there, but not totally holding. You've got to let go at times, and they're going to make mistakes, but you're going to be there to say, well, you can live through that one. You can live through that one. You'll be all right. Oh, that one's a bit bad. Let me help you here, right? Because you're going to make a silly mistake over there. And you know what I'm saying? So it's parenting in the right manner. Parenting has to be done in the right manner. I hear the music. Go, my brother.
Yes, I think we have to have spaces for these children to continue to learn outside of the home. And these spaces are not just for the children, it's for the families, so that the families can be guided correctly. And if the parents are being guided correctly, then it's much easier for the child to navigate things, because when they go home with the parents' guidance, and if the parents are being guided correctly on this path, then it's much easier to navigate. So we do desperately need these spaces for these for this generation and the families to attend.
And with that, thank you so much. Thank you
Thank you.
so much. We are
Thank
about to
you.
get ready to go to a commercial break. I know a social media angel is somewhere around here, floating around here, and getting ready for our next segment. This was the segment from pulpit to program. And our next segment coming up is Am I My Brother's Keeper? We'll be right back. Thank you.
I am somebody. I am smart. I am successful. I am healthy. I am my brother's keeper.
We suffer, and because we don't got internal guidance, internal peace, and structure, we go do financial crimes, especially for young men. Most of the time we get in trouble 18 to 25 is something for money. And in reality, the money is only to fix something that's internally off, something that's missing, love that we didn't feel. We just gotta always be mindful of what we go through as a community.
The glorification of one race and the consequent debasement of another has always been a recipe for murder. These were the theological and political issues that gripped my mind and spirit as I left graduate school during the high water mark of the civil rights movement and the rise of black power in the 1960s. I was a theologian obsessed with civil rights and black power movements. And they helped me to see that God is found in the midst of blacks fighting for dignity, justice, and respect. God is present in people struggling for life and not in the abstract metaphysical world of reason, which is only inhabited by philosophers and theologians and other privileged intellectuals. The Christian God is not the God of the philosophers, not the God of Plato, Kant, and Hegel, but rather the God of the Exodus and the prophets and of Jesus. If God is in the world where people are abused and exploited, what then is God doing? That was my question as I wrestle with the fire burning inside me and in the ghettos of America's cities. Christians are called by God to plunge themselves into the world on behalf of those who are voiceless and hurt. The great Russian writer Dostoevsky said, "There is only one thing I dread, not to be worthy of my suffering." And as I reflected on that saying in relation to black suffering, I said, there is only one thing I dread, not to be worthy of the life that the suffering of black people have made possible for me. I wanted to be a faithful witness to the redemptive meaning of nearly 400 years of black people suffering. I am at Union Seminary, and I am here at Yale talking to you tonight because black people suffered and died for me and others like me. Union Seminary was founded in 1836, but not for the freedom of black people. Yale was not created for black freedom either. Black freedom was not a part of Union's or Yale's ministry when they were founded. Cain killed his brother Abel, but Abel's blood spoke. Then the Lord said to Cain, where is your brother Abel? He said, I don't know. Am I my brother's keeper? And the Lord said, what have you done? Listen, your brother's blood is crying out to me from the ground. Now, Cain can be viewed as a metaphor for white people and Abel for black people. God is asking white Americans, especially Christians, where are your black brothers and sisters? And white people respond, we don't know. Are we their keepers? And the Lord says, what have you done to them for 4 centuries?
With a lot of black men, they'll come into the office and they'll say something like, yeah, I had this problem. I was feeling really down. I just isolated myself for a little bit, put my head down and just got to work. It's like, okay, well, who did you tell about your problems? Nah, nobody. Well, why didn't you tell anybody about your problems? I didn't want to be a burden. And then we will continue and we'll just keep.
We're back. You're listening to the Holy Coptic Church of the Black Messiah, Journey Home Group International. We are a teaching church. This is our Men's Conference 2025. We're in this moment of learning. This year's overall theme is Rooted in Liberation, Ready to Lead. I'm Rev. Dr. A.J. Varman. We're moving into the 3rd session of this Friday evening. I'd like to pass it over to Sister Jennifer Thurston and Dr. Nicole Ford, who will be leading us into the interview of Am I My Brother's Keeper or My Brother's Keeper? They'll be interviewing Kahun Anku Sarad, Dr. Cleveland Innias III, and Brother Demarius Freeman.
Welcome. Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, this is our 3rd segment. So we're going to get some energy, and I'm coming straight out the gate with a book. The original 12 Tribes of the Scriptures, written by Dr. A.J. Valmer. And on the back of it, it says, we must have truth, justice, peace, freedom, love, joy, unity, and success. I'm going to split it between you two. So, Brother Demarius and Kahun Anku, when it comes to manhood, Brother Demarius, what does truth, justice, peace, and freedom have to do with manhood? And Calhoun, what does love, joy, unity, and success have to do with manhood and being your brother's keeper? Let's go. Let's do
Namaste, sis. Can you repeat those? Truth, justice,
it. Truth, justice, peace, and freedom.
truth, justice, freedom, and peace. And
Yes,
what it
sir.
has to do with men.
And
Let's
brotherhood and
first
being
I'll
your
start
brother's
with the
keeper.
truth.
Mm-hmm.
Because our great Baba, Dr. Amos Wilson, he said that you cannot truly be a man if you are being ruled by the white man. You have to be independent. And the only way that we become independent as men, especially us as Nubian Melanites in this latter day, is that we have to know the truth. We have to know the things our great Baba Marcus Moshe Garvey taught. We have to know the great things that our Baba Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught. Our great Baba Martin Luther King Jr. taught. Our great Baba El Malik Haj Shabazz taught. I might have butchered his name, but we have to know those great things that our teachers taught, and they gave us the pieces and the keys and the tools to come up out of this system, to do for self and kind, to have one God, one aim, one destiny. We say one soul in different bodies, and we cannot be that without the truth. And here at the Holy Coptic Church of the Black Messiah, that starts with having a true religious identity. When we have Rel Sel Wet, our key to liberation, our non-precept principles, that religion, it is a true religious identity. You have to seek true faith before you embrace true faith. You have to seek the truth. You have to do the work. You have to do the studying. You have to do all those things that all of those great scholars that came before us did. You have to go to school. You have to build the businesses. You have to raise the families. So that truth is that manhood. And when you ask how does that relate to being our brother's keeper, once we know the truth, then we can go to our brothers with the truth. You can't go to a brother and hold him accountable if you out here doing the same things that he doing. You can't hold a person at the strip club accountable if you sitting right there at the strip club with him. You can't hold a person accountable that's smoking a blunt if you smoking the blunt with them. You can't hold a person accountable that's watching pornography if you watching pornography with them. So you have to be that example of that truth. You have to be the example of that justice, of that peace, and of that freedom, because the truth brings that justice. Truth brings just actions. As we say, speak truth to power. Baba Martin Luther King Jr. speaking truth to power. We recently heard it in like the past 5 years with our Baba Louis Farrakhan, where he's been saying, black men, speak truth to power. You have to speak it to that power in order to have that freedom, in order to have that justice, in order to have that peace. So you're going to always be in a state of turmoil. We always going to experience hell. We always going to experience false doctrines, false teachers, false prophets. We're always going to be in this never-ending cycle because the pattern will continue until we recognize the pattern and learn something about it and do something about it. And that's where that truth comes in. Because our BBs and Babas, they gave us those pieces and those tools to say, okay, I see it. When Baba Honorable Elijah Muhammad called the white man the devil, okay, let me take that into consideration. When he called the black man God, okay, let me take that into consideration. When Baba Martin Luther King Jr. said, I may have led my people into a burning house, okay, let me take that into consideration. Let me analyze it. Let me learn it. What was he talking about? What were they going through in the 1960s? What was going on with the civil rights movements? This is how we get to the truth and the root of our problems. And that truth brings that freedom, that peace, and that justice. It brings in everything that we would like in this latter day. And here at the Holy Covenant Church of the Black Messiah, that truth starts with seeking true faith. And it starts with learning your true religious identity, because it's been lost to us in this latter day.
Cahoon. So you have the last four: love, joy, unity, and success. Love, joy, unity, and success. What does that have to do with manhood and being your brother's keeper?
Well, first and foremost, I just want to make sure that the people who are listening today, people who are tuned in today, recognize that this is not just a conversation. We're not just having this event just to have something to do. All of the terms that you listed between Brother Demarius and I, those are terms that we as a people understood when we ruled ourselves. And being able to unify ourselves and being able to love ourselves. You know, they always talk about the two greatest commandments: love the Lord thy God. And then they say, love your neighbor as you love yourself. But if you don't love yourself, my Lord, you sure don't love your neighbor. If you don't love yourself, you sure don't love your brother. And so we're not just having this conference to have something to do. We are coming together because manhood is under attack. All of those wonderful words that you shared and asked us to explain, they're all ideals. They're all realities that we can aim at, and we can look to our great ancestors because they had those ideals. They had love, they had unity, they had truth, they had success. And this allowed for them to build the empires, to build the wonders of the world that today still cannot be replicated, because they had the conditions, they had the environment, they had the understanding that they didn't care about what other people thought about them. They did what was necessary to make sure that they were safe, that their brothers were safe, that their sisters were safe, that their families were safe, so that we can continue to ultimately rule ourselves. And if we don't understand that, then we're not truly being our brother's keeper. Being our brother's keeper just doesn't mean an individual brother.
Mm-hmm.
It means being the keeper of the community. It means being the keeper of those who have like passions, who have the same principles, the same ideals. Because we're not here to save the world. They lied to you when they told you that the Messiah came to save the world. He came for his own, and he loved his own until the end. And so we are doing the same as the revolutionary Messiah. We are doing the same as our great BBs and Babas, the same as Marcus Garvey, the same as Elijah Muhammad, the same as Dr. Martin Luther King, the same as Malcolm X, the same as the leaders in our respective countries all did. They all sacrificed. They all held up those ideals in order that we have a goal to focus on and say to ourselves, if we're going through hell, don't stop. Keep going, because we can get to love. We can get to truth. We can get to unity. We can get to success. It takes the opportunity for us to gather, and once saved, men understand that they are part of the salvation. And all of those words like love and unity and success and truth, they are ideas to bring about that salvation and to be our brother's keeper. Bring about that salvation.
Okay. Thank you so much, Sister Jan.
The etymology of keeper. We did a lot just now. But this etymology says, one who has charge of some person or thing. Warden, the sense of one who carries on some business. Is from mid-15th century, is from 1744. The meaning something worth keeping. So I want to stress that point of business. Yes? But there's a gentleman that I've been following on LinkedIn called Carter Rankin. Gives beautiful analysis of how we can practically put through it. He talks about the church. The $9 billion problem of our churches. And of course, he's talking in the US. Don't talk about Black churches control 55,000 buildings, thousands of parking lots across America. And here's the, we are leaving $4 to $9 billion a year on the table because our buildings sit empty Monday through Friday, while Black families struggle, our assets sit dark. Meanwhile, Catholic churches run schools, run daycares, bingo halls, event rentals, Jewish synagogues, run community centers, education programs, business classes. Mormon churches run youth groups, training hubs, multi-use facilities every day of the week. How do we, and you as Governor of this Kanisa, take that example and say how we can practically generate revenue as we're keeping our brothers? Because we need to get them involved in this liberation movement.
Well, what we have to do ultimately is be prepared to sacrifice. We are afraid to step away from our 9 to 5 and actually put some skin in the game and actually put our lives on the line. If I say to myself that I'm going to invest in my Kanisa and the various businesses that the Kanisa is putting forward, and I understand that if this business doesn't work, my family doesn't eat, I make sure that the business is going to actually work. And I've done it. I'm telling you what I've personally done. I put up land, I put up money, I put up time, I've sacrificed for me and my family. I have personally done it. And I've asked others to do it, and there are others who are doing it. But it has to be a collective effort, and it has to be something where we can't just say when we don't feel like coming to Kanisa or we don't feel like coming to run the store, I got to go back to work.
Yeah.
Because you still are tethered, you're still checked by your 9 to 5. Now, of course, we're not telling people to just drop everything and just, throw be irresponsible. That's not what we're saying. When I did it personally, I put myself on half day on my 9 to 5. I went to my boss and said, I'll work from 9 to 12. You pay me half. And he just looked at me. Sure. Because this was around 2008 when the big crash was taking place, and they were like, I watched everybody around me get fired. so I know what's coming. So I said, let me get on half pay. And then I started to work jobs that didn't take as much time, but allowed me to make some money, and then begin to put money into the Kanisa. The time we had cooked the kitchen, and we began to build. And so that reality of understanding that you got to be strategic, understanding that you're going to have to sacrifice, and you're going to need others to lean on is crucial to us not being the whatever million or billion, I don't think it's a $9 billion problem, right? We got to understand that this devil, 1 Peter chapter 5, verse 8 talks about this devil moving like a and it is seeking to destroy, it is seeking to devour. If we don't see the urgency in that, if we believe that we're safe because we have a job, then we're not truly, as Dr. Amos Wilson, as Brother Damaris was saying, we're not truly men in the sense of actually understanding that you can't depend on other men to secure your family. You can't depend on other men to secure your community. You have to understand that there are forces within nature waiting for you to tap into them so that they can assist you with doing the work that you've been pre-programmed to do genetically. You understand? And as we have these types of conversations, and as we talk to the brothers and the sisters out there, the people who are going to listen to this recording, and make sure that you understand, watch the news, please.
Please.
Pay attention, please. There's a sense of urgency that we must move with, because they're not going to allow another Marcus Garvey. They're not going to allow another Dr. Martin Luther King. They already moved his holiday off of the federal schedule, as I understand it. And all they're doing is preparing to re-enslave a people. Yes. And the first way that you begin to re-enslave a people is through propaganda. Catholic word, by the way. So I'll leave it there, and I'll allow Brother Damaris chime in.
Brother Damaris?
The monster sis, can you repeat the question again for me?
I gave a breakdown of a gentleman that's on LinkedIn. He talked about the $9 billion loss of the church, because from Monday to Saturday, our Kanisas sit empty. Whereas the Catholic Church, the Mormons, the Jews, they have daycare, they have schools, they have courses, they rent out spaces. They're always generating revenue. And I started with the etymology of keeper, which talked about business. You're keeping business. So how do we, as atonists, put this into play?
We, as atonists, put it into play with the Rel Cell Web. We have the religion at the top because we teach that our religion gives us our rights, and our rights give us our culture. Once we have the rights, the things that we do on Sunday from the Eucharist, and we know we have to do our Selahs, and then we have to have our Shubat. We have to have these kufas on. We got our symbols of the ever-living Nazarene. We have our Nebunks on. Those things create the economics. What's happening with the church and practice and blind faith, they're not teaching the people the truth. They don't have the things that they need to dress up with, or the regalia, or the teaching of why those things are important, why you must be uniform and have uniformity at the same time, and why that's important. When you meet the Catholics, they all dress the same. When we look
Mm.
at the Jews, they all dress the same. When we look at the Mormons or the evangelists, they all dress the same. They have that structure to where they're able to continue that economics throughout their teachings and their practices in their churches. And having that constant income coming in, and it allows you to build the daycares. It allows you to build the school systems. It allows you to build the gymnasium at your church so you can have a rec center for the children to come at and play basketball, volleyball, football, whatever you may need. But for us as atoners to get out here and do that and see that come to fruition, we have to get out here and talk to people about our true religious identity. We have to inspire them to come over here and say, hey, my brother, I like the way that you dress. Sister, I like the way that you dress. I like the way that you carry yourself. Why do you carry yourself like that? What's that neb on you? Why do you wear this? Why do you have your mishbat on? Why do you have your shumir on? They're not gonna say shumir. They're just gonna say bracelet, or why you have the, because everybody don't know about prayer beads or shumir. But they're gonna ask you these questions. They're gonna look at you and you tell them about your doctrine and teach what it is that we are doing, because we do have doctors here. We do have physicians here. We do have businesses here. We do have journal businesses. We do have Maj Baby. We do have our oils. We do have our incense. So everything is here for us to do. It's just we have to put it in play. We have to get out here and speak to our people on that level. We won't have a $9 billion problem because we are addressing the religion first. When you go to the Catholics, they're addressing their religion first. They're addressing their scriptures first. When you go to the Jews, they're addressing their religion first. They're addressing their scriptures first. And when you do that, that will lead to the economics. That will lead to the labor. Now, okay, I'm part of the Holy Covenant Church of the Black Messiah. I seen what they've been doing. I want to join. Oh, they need a store. They need a grocery store. Okay, let me open up a Tree of Eternal Life store. That's that economics. Let me go support it. Or we need to heal ourselves. We need to have a Just Walk Foundation. We need to get our health right. Okay, let me go to the Tree of Eternal Life store. Let me get my herbs. Let me get my natural oils. Let me get my natural teas. Let me get those natural remedies that's gonna heal me. Those are the things that set us up in this latter day. The reason why people that are practicing monotheism and blind faith is because the message is not there anymore. They're losing the people. But we here at the Holy Covenant Church of the Black Messiah, we have a true religious identity. We can show our people the truth. We can bring them here, no matter from all walks globally, because we say bring everything at one. We say take the African out of Christianity, take the African out of Judaism, take the African out of Hinduism. Just take it back so we all can come as one. We have people from the Nation of Islam that are here. We have regular Christians who are Baptist, Pentecostal, Catholic. They are here and they're doing the job and putting in the work so that we can build this true religious identity and build those economics. That's where it starts with us in this latter day is the Holy Covenant Church of the Black Messiah. Going out here and giving our people the message and inspiring them to be better and want better and do more in this latter day. And then we will see that flow come through us. The Most High Heaven One, Ane Ray willing.
Okay.
Amen.
So, amen. That's what I am bringing up a video. That's my thing this today. And today we are looking at the videos. And so it's coming up.
Sometimes you got to find out if you're crazy or not. You ever thought something, or like even if you talk to your woman or your wife and she just don't get it, like, yo, I know I'm not crazy. You get what I'm saying? And you got to bounce that off another black man, like, yo, am I losing my mind?
Cool,
you know what I'm saying?
Cool and Real know that I will literally be like, am I tripping? Like I'll call, text me like, yo, like, am I way off here?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And it'll be times where I'll be like, yeah, you might be off on this one, bro. You know what I'm saying? And I got to eat the crow.
Okay. Talking about am I my brother's keeper, right? And I just wanted you all, if possible, if you can explain to me, there's a proverb, Proverbs 27:17, and it says, iron sharpens iron, so a man sharpens the countenance of his friend. What does that mean? And how do you deal with your own jealousy?
Well,
the water's warm.
Yeah, the reality is, when you say iron sharpens iron, right?
Mm.
One of the things that men will do is we're gonna test to see if you're iron, right? Because if we trying to test you, we know iron sharpens iron, and you turn out to be wood. You understand? We're gonna make sure that you understand that you're wood. You understand? Because when you're talking about brotherhood, our job is to make sure that each of us gets to the point of being that iron that sharpens the iron, right? And usually with men, we don't have a problem with a pecking order. But if I buck up on a brother and my iron is like wood to his iron, then I normally would say, whoa, whereby your iron makes my iron feel like wood. You understand what I'm saying? If not, what does iron do to wood? It's gonna mask it up, right? So we usually, I mean, you know, there are obviously, you know, situations where that's not the case, but usually when anybody who's calling themselves your brother is around you, you recognize your strengths, you recognize your weaknesses, you recognize I'm better at this, you're better at that. And once we can work together to you strengthen my weaknesses, I strengthen your weaknesses, and we can face the world. Once we can do that, then we can attract other brothers who respect what that looks like. Because that's a beautiful, very powerful thing to see brothers moving in unity, whereby they are able to move whatever it is in the front of them, whatever obstacle is in the front of them, and make way for whatever it is that they want to build in a unified, successful way, whereby they recognize that I can't come in here and pretend. I can't come in here and be a piece of wood and act like I'm iron, because we can straighten you out very quickly. You understand? And we can do it with respect, and we can do it with love. And like our boss always says, you can always tell when someone grew up being talked to versus not being talked to. You can tell when someone grew up being a part of a team versus not being a part of a team. Because usually people who grew up being a part of a team, they understand that if the coach is yelling at you, don't take it personal. We're trying to win. You understand? We're trying to get somewhere as a team. You're messing up. So get yourself together. My coaches had some very choice words. I can't say those words right now, but it made us what? Become iron. Because when we first stepped onto those teams, when we first stepped into those brotherhoods, we may be like the wood. But as you begin to get put through the fire, to get put through the heat challenges, that wood can become like iron. And then the iron can sharpen the iron. And then we can attract others who want to move with like passion and move out into the world and make a change for our babies, for our women, for our communities, so that we can once again rule ourselves. I'll leave it there.
So, Brother Damaris, can you answer the jealousy part of that question? How do you deal with your own jealousy in the brotherhood?
You said, can I answer the jealousy part?
Yeah, there was a part two.
Jealousy.
Yes,
can I ask what
in
you
the
mean by
brotherhood.
jealousy?
Envy, the etymology, of jealousy. Helpfulness, regard, fever, devotion, envy, rival. To look at with malice, disappointment, or to cast an evil eye.
So how do we handle our own jealousy?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna speak. I'm gonna say that first. I'm not gonna speak for everyone else out there. But I know throughout my life and my journey, as I've grown and I've learned and I've matured, I was only jealous when I was not putting in as much work as the other person. I only envied because I seen something that somebody else had or somebody else was doing. Or I seen a guy in my classroom when I was in high school. He was getting all the girls and I wasn't getting no girls. So I envy him and I'm jealous of him. But he the one doing the work. He the one spitting all the sweet nothings in the ear. He makes sure all his gears fly, dressed down from the head to the toe, doing all the things that the girls liked at that time. He made sure he was doing that. Or if I'm growing up in the church and I see a young man, a lot of the deacons like him, the pastors like him, the sisters at the church saying, "Oh, he gonna be another preacher. He's a good young man. Let's make sure we get him in school and things like that. He a part of the community." You're only jealous when you are not doing the work. If it is something that you think that you should have or should be doing, or something that you aspire or inspire to be, you have to put in that work. So us in this latter day and in this time, jealousy amongst us as brothers is because we're not doing that work on ourselves as brothers. I can't look at a brother like Calhoun Uncle or Brother T or Dr. Tucker or Elder Owens or Calhoun Muntu. I can't look at them like why he get to go to the meeting, to the shoe bag, why he get to go to the family reunion, why is he at Love Lies Liberation, why they got him on the front flyer, why they got him on the cover, because they're doing the work. Manhood by Baba Market, not Marcus Moshe Garvey, but Dr. Amos Wilson. He said manhood is something that has to be developed. It has to constantly be defined. And if you are not developing it, and if you are not defining it, you're gonna always fall short of it. That's where the iron sharpest iron comes in. That what Uncle Sarah was just speaking about. You have to get around the iron to sharpen your iron. You may be wood, but you need to get around those who got the iron that you're looking for and aspiring to be and doing the things that you say that you want to do so you can become sharp. Or you're going to have that jealousy. Or you're going to look at the next brother and you're going to look at him and be like, man, I want all that. Man, he got the girls, he got the whip, he got the spinning rims, all of that. Then you got to go do what he's doing if that's what you want. If you say that's what you want, if you say this is what you want to do, and if you're jealous of this person, you got to go do the work of that person. We can't say, "Oh, Baba Martin Luther King, oh, he just led our people into integration, and he just messed us as a people up," because we hear that a lot in the conscious community. But you didn't do the work. You didn't do his work. You didn't do the marches. You didn't stay up the late nights. You didn't get death threats. You didn't have people sending videos to your wife. You didn't do the work that he did to have that kind of opinion or to even be having those kind of feelings. That's racism, white supremacy. We was just speaking about penis envy, which B.B. Francis Cress Wilson talked about. It's envy because they don't have it. They don't have what you got. As a black man, they want what you got. They see your sisters. They see how you carry yourself. They see you stand tall. They see you speak with a veracity and a ferociousness and you make people stand at attention. They want that, but they don't have that. They too busy talking about different scrotum sizes and loving on each other. But they see us as the standard. They know we are the standard. But the only reason why we as men would be jealous of another man is because we are not doing that work, and we see the inaccuracies in ourselves, and we see the insecurities in ourselves, and we're not willing to do that work within ourselves. And like Baba Amos Wilson said, manhood has to be developed. I'm gonna keep repeating that because it was a very profound thing. Because he said females, for the most part, women, we judge all just based off of your anatomy. You can't judge a man based off of his anatomy. Something has to go beyond just us having a penis. We have to be able to stand tall. We have to be able to speak truth to power. We have to be for our people. We have to teach our families the right things. We have to teach our children the right things. The only way that that's going to happen is if you develop that manhood. And the only way to develop manhood is getting around other men. Real men, the ones who are standing for something. I wouldn't be sitting here right here today if it wasn't for Abasesh Haru Hotep Tar. I wouldn't be sitting here today if it wasn't, I have an uncle named Uncle William who taught me how to be a man. He showed me how family's supposed to operate and things like that. I even have an older brother. He's raising a family. He went to college. He got his degrees. He became a doctor. I wouldn't be able to sit here today and stand and say these things to you all if I did not have those examples of that manhood in my day-to-day life. That's where that iron sharpens iron comes from. When iron is sharper iron, you don't have to worry about a piece of wood because the jealousies are not there. You're doing the work. Iron sharpening iron, that means they going against each other. Something's clicking, something's clacking. They working, they fighting, they at odds, whatever it may be. It takes the work. You have to do the work to hone in on your jealousies, to hone in on your insecurities, to hone in on your trauma, to hone in on your doubt, whatever it may be. You have to do the work. That's why I said I don't want to speak for other people. But I knew as I grew up in this latter day, and as I was growing up in this society, when I was seeing things on TV, celebrities I wanted to be like, basketball players I wanted to be like, or people.
Man.
You saying some good stuff. We
Okay.
wish you can hear you.
On that note, I want to give an example, a short story of, I guess, non-competing, no jealousy here. Talking about Muhammad Ali. Long before the world knew Muhammad Ali as the greatest, he was a part of a pair. Did you know that?
No, I didn't know.
Neither did I.
I did not know that.
His younger brother, Rahman Ali, born Rudolph Clay, wasn't just family. He was present consistently, deliberately, often quietly. He traveled with Muhammad. He trained with him. He served as his sparring partner. He stood close through moments that had nothing to do with boxing rings or scorecards. During Ali's toughest years, when he was stripped of his title, banned from boxing and facing hostile crowds, Rahman stayed beside him as a brother, fighter, and protector. He moved without needing attention while Ali stood in the spotlight. Now I'll stop there. Is there someone that has done that for you, like Brother Damaris was just saying? And then, is there someone that you're doing that for? Because I think we have to pay it forward. So both of you can address it, please.
So is there someone that I have been there for who's been in the limelight and vice versa? So growing up, I've always had older brothers who have been more popular, more influential, that I have really just kind of sat like they say a fly on the wall, right? You're there, you're watching, you're the little brother, you're not really of any real consequence, right? And you learn if you're smart, right? You sit there, you learn. I'm that way right now with Basesh, right? I'm like that Tahun Mantu, right? Even in certain circumstances, I'm like that with a brother Demarius. If he's talking and the light's on him, I'll sit and I'll learn, I'll watch. When the sisters teach on Sundays and the spotlight's not on me, I'll sit back and I'll watch and I'll learn. Because I know when the spotlight's on me, again, what they were teaching is now a part of me, if I was smart enough to learn. You understand? I understand that the spotlight or the attention is not the goal. Us collectively winning is the goal. You understand? And if we need for another brother to be in the spotlight for us to win, if sports analogy, if I'm the star of the team, but I'm being double and triple guarded, I'm gonna need someone else to step up. Someone else is open, and I need them to step up. And if they gotta hit the LeBron James just did it the other night. BJ Edgecombe, right? But LeBron James had scored over 10 points for over 1,200 games. He had 8 points left. He had 8 points in the game. The final shot, he could have taken the shot, won the game, got 10 points, keep the streak going, or he could just pass the ball. I think it was a rookie. Let him score. He's the future. I've done that. That's brotherhood. That's teamwork. You understand? I'm sure that Muhammad Ali's brother, wanted to be in the limelight as much as him. But sometimes you just understand, hey, my brother's better at me than this, at this thing. You understand? I've seen many teachers, great teachers, who were younger than their older brother. And their older brother had to step back and say, yeah, I'm the older brother, but he's the man. He's getting us to where we got to go. And guess what? That older brother is still the older brother when the younger brother needs it. When he gets off stage and when all the hoorah and everything finishes, he still got to put his head on the shoulder of his big brother, because when you in the limelight, the arrows are hitting you. You're the target. Understand? And so when you understand that the goal is not the limelight, the goal is to win, then an old proverb that we are taught in our brotherhood is that you take compliments and insults the same. You let them roll off of you just like water rolls off of a duck's back, the same way. And so if today, Brother Demarius is the star, we clap. Vasesh is the star, we clap. Kahun Mantu is the star, we clap. We just want to win. You understand? And that's how brotherhoods operate, and that's how we operate.
And Brother Demarius, is there anybody that you, like how you were taken in, is there anybody that you're paying it forward to?